She y'all missed it, man. I tried to go live like right away when she was talking about how she a Cowboy fan and she was gonna do this.
You tripping. I'm cutting you off right then and there. Absolutely not. Hell no.
What's up, everybody? Man, Cowboy, this is something that you're supposed to be excited about. It's Cowboy Philly Week. And I know Brittany. So first of all, this is Brittany from Sideline Speaks. And
What's going on, guys?
she has an excellent podcast. And I know everybody in here is probably not a big time Philly fan, but it's Brittany. She has an excellent podcast. Y'all go check her out. She does she does all Philly sports. So check out if you get an opportunity. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. Like and subscribe here too. So Dallas Philly Week. This is supposed to be an exciting time. Big rivalry game here in Dallas, 325. Game of the week, everything. But, man, it's really hard to get excited these days. It really is. But first, let's start with this.
Here we go. Yeah, here we go. Wait, take. Cowboys.
Throws back of the end zone. There's
What's up, everybody? Cowboys C3. That's Brittany's favorite song. I'm here with Brittany from Sideline Speaks. Cowboys Philly, 325 tomorrow. Game of the week. Fox game of the week. Philly is a 7.5 point favorite. Brittany, what you think about that?
First of all, there was way too much Cowboys in that damn intro. I thought I was gonna get sick. Golly, my goodness. And then I've been to that daggone Jerry Jones area. Oh, wanted to get sick on that field. I'm just playing.
That's a beautiful stadium, man. It's beautiful.
What I think
we got right now.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm a little. I think Philly can pull it out. I'm gonna be straight up. I feel like they should pull it out on paper. But the only thing I'm nervous about is the head coach. That's, to me, if you look on paper, if you see how they play on both sides of the football, they should blow the lights out. They should blow the Cowboys out. But Nick Sirianni is my nerve-wracking point. That is, he is that pain in your side that just won't go away or won't do right. So his decision making is making me a little bit nervous. But if he does what he's supposed to do, they should blow out the Cowboys. They better blow out the Cowboys. At least beat them. I know it's a division rival. They know each other very, very well. It's still tight, but I just can't see. I can't give the Eagles any excuses when Dak Prescott is out. I don't know. Is Michael Parsons playing? He may not be playing tomorrow.
I'm gonna get into that in just a second.
But even if he is, run at him. Run at him. This should be a game that the Philadelphia Eagles should just be running the football. But we know the Philadelphia Eagles will not just run the football. So we'll see what happens. It's going to be interesting.
All right. Well, that's the perfect segue into the injury report. It's crazy. This is just sit back, man. You might want to get a drink or something because this shit going to be long as hell. Deron Bland did not practice all week. He's out. Kalen Carson, rookie cornerback, who's been starting in place of Deron Bland. He was a full participant in practice. He's been cleared to play.
Mm-hmm.
Trayvon Diggs, limited Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, did not practice on Friday, questionable for the game. Tyler Guyton, your left tackle, neck and shoulder injury, limited practice all week. He's questionable for the game. Linval Joseph, defensive tackle, bad back, limited practice on Wednesday and Thursday, full on Friday. He's cleared to play. Eric Kendricks, your middle linebacker, shoulder injury, did not practice on Wednesday, limited practice on Thursday, Friday, questionable for the game. CeeDee Lamb, limited practice all week, questionable for the game. Zach Martin with a bad shoulder, you're starting right guard, who's had a terrible year anyway, did not practice until Friday, questionable for the game. Micah Parsons, limited practice all week, questionable for the game. Dak Prescott, hamstring injury, did not practice for the week, out for the game, placed on injury reserve. Wanye Thomas, your starting strong safety, who took the place of Darren. I don't even know why I can't even remember his name. Wilson, limited practice all week with a concussion, out for the game. Nick Vigil, your backup middle linebacker. So if Eric Kendricks can't go, Nick Vigil would go. Nick Vigil with a bad foot, did not practice all week, questionable for the game.
Yeah, who you playing the rehab facility? Like, what is going on?
So Philly, this is the Phillies injury report. Everybody was a full participant on Friday. Everybody will go in the game.
Except for Jordan Mailata, because he's on IR.
He's the only one that's on IR. That's
right.
it. So y'all coming in full steam.
Exactly. We should win. We should definitely win. But these are the games I get most nervous of as a Philadelphia fan. I'm being honest with you, because we have the tendency to play down. And I hate that we have the tendency to play down at times.
Can you play this far down?
I don't know. We will surprise you sometimes. We shouldn't. I hope they don't have the mentality to do that. They need to understand that this is a big division rival, because they can't come back to Philly after losing this one. I know Jalen Hurts has never won in Jerry's world. So he has never won there. But this one, hopefully, this should be his first win. This should be without a doubt his first win. But we're going to have to see what happens.
So an interesting stat that I came across this week is that since Saquon Barkley came into the NFL, he's never had 100 yards rushing against the Dallas Cowboys. We'll talk about the Eagles offense first. And just strictly because, so even though I'm not supposed to be, I'm a big Jalen Hurts fan. And the reason I'm a Jalen Hurts fan is because he's a Texas boy, right? Channel View. I thought that he was a fantastic quarterback at Alabama for what they did, right? They were a run-first offense. He ran the ball a lot at Alabama. I also was stationed in Hawaii around this time, so I saw Tua come up in high school. So I knew that Alabama was getting a special quarterback when they signed Tua. I knew that. And I knew that if he ever had an opportunity to come into a football game, that it would put Jalen Hurts in a precarious situation, because dude could throw the football. So, and it happened. And then he transferred to Oklahoma, and I hate Oklahoma, right? I'm from Texas. You either love Oklahoma or you hate Oklahoma.
Right.
And he got under Lincoln Riley's tutelage. He became a very good quarterback, right? He absolutely could throw the ball. You know, he found out he could absolutely throw the ball. And then he gets drafted by Philly. And I'm like, bro, you went from one team that I'm like, I hate them, but I can live with Oklahoma. I can't live with Philly. I can't do it, right? I just can't do it. So, but I watch him, you know, and I think that he faces some criticism about some things that he does, but I think he faces some criticism about the things that he does because that's the offensive scheme that they run in Philly. It is a run-first offense, and Jalen Hurts will run, and he is an excellent runner. He's strong. Dude was a powerlifting champion in high school. He can run, right? Then this offseason, y'all signed Saquon Barkley. And you already had two dynamic wide receivers. And then you guys got a pretty decent tight end. He's not bad at all. But then you add this dynamic to it, and this is like the offense that is the absolute kryptonite for the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, if you think about it, is everything that you guys was kind of supposed to have and once did have at one point in time. Maybe you didn't have a Devontae Smith type of talent, but you definitely had a certified number 2 and some top tier running backs just a few years ago. In the offensive line. I don't know where the heck it happened to it. That disappeared quick. But no, getting back to the Eagles, Saquon Barkley, man, the pressure that he takes off of basically everybody in the entire offense, even the coach. When the coach is not making great decisions at time, the pressure he takes off of them. He's an incredible running back. He's an incredible. I don't understand how the Giants let him go.
Stupid.
Dumb. And then you allow him to go to a division rival, which is even crazier to me.
Stupider.
So, but then you have AJ Brown and Devontae Smith, and Devontae Smith, I don't think gets enough credit for what his capabilities are, because he is a fantastic route runner, and boy, he track that football. He could go get that football, as small as he is. But overall, I had to give more credit to Jalen Hurts, because a lot of people see him more as a running quarterback, but he'll drop a dime if he has the time back there. He will dot a defense up. And he's shown that last week. He has shown that quite a few times.
So the thing that I think that makes Philly's offense special is end of years past, especially these last couple of years. Miles Sanders is a decent running back. He's not terrible, right? But I don't think anybody ever feared, and even like just watching Dallas play Philly, even, going to Philly coming here. I never really feared the running game. And I'm like, I don't really worry about that. And Dallas, you could tell that Dallas kind of played an opportunistic defense, especially under Dan Quinn. Played an opportunistic defense, try to look for some turnovers, right? And Dallas would always give y'all a couple turnovers at the beginning, but then there'd be a big turnover at the end of the game to make the game close. And, Dallas and Philly split like the last couple of years.
Right.
Well, once you sign somebody like Saquon Barkley, who is special, and the reason that he's so special is because, and everybody's like, well, he's injury prone. He was injured in New York because he did everything.
Exactly.
Everything. He don't have to do everything with this team. All he got to do is come in, carry the ball 2 or 3 times, go sit down, get you a breather, catch you a Gatorade. You know what I'm saying? Watch a Netflix show, do whatever you got to do, then go on back in there and do it again. You know what I'm saying? That's all he got to do.
Right.
And it takes so much pressure off your quarterback, because now with a play action pass from Jalen Hurts, right? Literally everybody's running at Saquon Barkley. And he's just standing back in the pocket, and it's giving him time to throw. And you got these dynamic receivers, and you got this tight end that knows how to get open. And shit, it's easy.
Yeah. And can't forget about the offensive line. And we've gone through our injuries throughout the offensive line, but that Scouting, the offensive line coach.
Yeah, man. Y'all got it going on over there, man. And it's so painful for me to watch, because I hate Philly. I hate them with a passion, but they good. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Got to give them their flowers. You do. Cowboys offense. We've gone through and we'll start from the very basics. We've gone through our woes on the offensive line. You got 2 rookies starting at probably the 2 key positions on the offensive line. You got a rookie starting at center and Cooper Beebe. And you also have your left tackle, Tyler Guyton, who in the last few weeks has kind of flashed. He's shown some promise, right? But he's dealing with these little nagging injuries. And I think that he'll probably play. I think they just kind of hold him out of practice just to try to keep a little strain, because he's got a bad neck and shoulder, and it's all on the same side. It's on his left side. He's 6'8". He got some long arms. You know what I mean? And you try to keep him as healthy as you possibly can, because this week is going to be a struggle. Tyler Smith is Tyler Smith, your left tackle. I mean, your left guard. He's Tyler Smith. The surprising part of the offensive line has been your right side. So you got 2 big money guys on your right side of your offensive line, and Zach Martin and Terrence Steele. Zach Martin he will be a Hall of Famer. He has been, the mainstay at right tackle for 10 plus years, right guard for 10 plus years. A lot of people have this gradual decrease in their abilities to play. And Zach Martin just hit a cliff. He went steady and just fell off. And it's evident, and it's bad. The fall off is bad. His PFF scores like these last 4 weeks, I think his last 4 games, his highest score is like a 41. I think so. It's bad. Terrence Steele got paid. He got hurt the year he got paid. Last year was his first year from the injury. So last year, he saw some struggles, some of the same struggles that he sees this year. Like, there's been times where he don't even get, like, especially when they were playing the Lions, right? Before what's his name? The defensive end for the Lions, the one that broke his leg. Hutchinson. Before Hutchinson got hurt. There was times where Terrence Steele wasn't even getting his hands on him. He was just running free at that. And, the crazy part about this whole thing that's happening with the Cowboys is that I called it like on the group podcast. I called it the first one. I said things are gonna go to hell and everybody gonna blame Dak. But you set him up for failure. You said I truly believe that this was. You've been 12-5 these last 3 years. What can Mike McCarthy do if I give you the minimal? What can you do with this minimal team that I give you? Because you can't tell me that you thought for 1 second that the Cowboys were going to be a successful football team with this, right? With this lineup. You got 2 rookies at offensive linemen. You made no moves to sign any wide receiver. You let your best running back go. And I'll get into this in a second about Cooper Rush because I haven't even got on him yet. And I got some interesting information for everybody about Cooper Rush too. You got 1 wide receiver that you didn't sign. He wasn't even in training camp, so you built no continuity with your wide receiver. And then you sign your quarterback the day before the season started. Well, actually the day of the first game of the season to a $60 million contract. It was doomed from the beginning. Especially on the offensive side. The defensive side of the ball, you couldn't have told me that it was going to go like this, but I'll tell you about that in a minute. So now your quarterback gets hurt, right? You got this $60 million investment. And I said it on my last podcast. What they did to Dak Prescott is the equivalent of me and you, Brittany, buying $1 million house. And we get this interior designer, and this interior designer comes in and makes this house exactly how you want it. I mean, it's got all the bells, all the whistles, everything that you would want in this house. This house is perfect for you. This is your house. You made up this house. You designed this house. Your interior decorator comes in and lays this house down to a T, right? But your house ain't got no windows. You have nothing to protect the interior of your house.
Right.
And that's what they did with Dak Prescott. So, yeah, he has been absolute ass this year. But how was he supposed to be good? You can't put anybody in this type of situation and expect them to be good, right? You can't do it because I'm going to take your one weapon, right? And I'm going to wait and sign him. I'm going to wait to sign him till we get home from training camp. So you're not finna build no continuity with him. Like, you're not going to do that. I'm not going to give you a running back because we're trying to see what Zeke going to do. But you know damn well what Zeke going to do. You know what he going to do. Saquon Barkley could have been a Cowboy. Derrick Henry could have been a Cowboy. The only person that I feel like that they couldn't have afforded in the offseason was maybe Josh Jacobs. I don't think they could have afforded him, right? But these other 2 running backs, you absolutely could have afforded them because Trey Lance makes more money than both of them.
That's crazy. I never thought about it that way.
Just saying, Trey Lance makes more than both of them, either as much or more than both of them. And this dude, up until this week where he has to play, right? He has to be the backup, has just been sitting as your emergency quarterback. So he's been your scout team quarterback. That's what you got. That's what you got. Go ahead.
The one thing about the Cowboys, and you said it, I've said it, because I still think there was going into the offseason, I still think it was a lot of, you had some talent. You know, you have a good quarterback, as much as I hate to say it, because I'm not a Dak Prescott fan because he's on the wrong team. Let's be real. We're rivals, guys. But Dak Prescott, however you feel about him, he is a talented quarterback. You have CeeDee Lamb. You have some young pieces on that off. Like I like Tyler Guyton, I like Cooper Beebe, but they are rookies, so it is what it is. But to me, they're going to grow into something. Key pieces on that offensive line. But we said it time and time again. You have to go get yourself a running back. You got to go get yourself really a true number 2 receiver. I got respect for Brandon Cooks, but Brandon Cooks, I don't remember the last time he had a season where he was able to stay healthy the entire season.
It's been a long time.
It's been a very, very long time. And Jerry Jones has had opportunities to go get this done, but his ego just didn't allow him to say, you know what, let me the people I put in place, let me allow them to do their job to make sure my team is successful.
So here's an interesting fact about this last week with this Jonathan Mingo trade for a 4th round pick. DeAndre Hopkins went to Kansas City for a 5th round pick.
Which is crazy.
Deontay Johnson went to Baltimore for a 5th-round pick. Amari Cooper went to Buffalo for a conditional 3rd-round pick. It's a 4th, but it's a conditional 3rd. If he does whatever numbers or whatever, then it moves to a 3rd, right?
Mm-hmm.
So these were quality moves to make football teams better, right? Jonathan Mingo has caught 45 passes in his career, and he's never caught a touchdown.
He can't even start with the Panthers.
He was the 6th wide receiver on the Panthers. The 6th. And you put a 4th-round pick on that.
That's crazy.
So, with that being said, Dak Prescott goes out. Everybody around here, everybody in the media is like, Dak needs to run. Dak needs to run. Dak needs to run. Dak needs to run. And Dak ran last week.
Mm-hmm.
And Dak has the longest run now for the quarterbacks for the season of 22 yards. Dak ran, right? But in the process of running, he tore a piece of his hamstring, right? And there was some concerns that he maybe tore a piece of it off the bone. That's still unconfirmed, but they placed him on IR because they said with this injury, there's no way he's going to recover within 4 weeks. So enter Cooper Rush. And there are some people, especially on social media, right? Because I look at social media all the time. They are big fans of this move. Dak Prescott is trash. Cooper Rush is 5-1 as a starting quarterback in the NFL. So,
years ago?
Yeah. So check this out. I went back and I looked and I'm like, you know what? Props to Cooper Rush. He is 5-1 as a starter in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
But let's look at each start and see what he did. So I looked at him. Cowboys defense in his 5 wins as the Dallas Cowboy quarterback did not allow more than 20 points in each game. Either Ezekiel Elliott or Tony Pollard rushed for over 90 yards in these games.
Yep, I remember.
Cooper Rush's best passing game as the starting quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys is 225 yards passing, 3 touchdowns. That's his best game.
Mm-hmm.
He don't have that luxury this time. Mm-hmm. That's not there.
You don't have the protection this time.
No protection. So he came out in the game against Atlanta last week. Me and Zoe talked about it for a little bit. Came out in the game last week. I think he came out like right at the end of the 3rd quarter. He played he played the whole 4th quarter. And he looked pretty efficient, right?
Mm-hmm.
However, Zoe was the first one to point out that they were like in this, they had gone to like a soft prevent. They stopped blitzing, they stopped doing everything. And he should have thrown 2 interceptions. He should have bounced right off DB's hands. They just missed the ball. Cooper Rush is a don't get me wrong, he is a decent quarterback. And he has shown you in the past that he can come out and he can hold down the fort until your starter gets back. Well, this year, there's an outside chance that your starter not coming back. This is what you got, right? This is what you got. Cooper Rush throws a soft ball. They call it a very catchable ball. It's a soft ball. It kind of hangs in the air.
Mm-hmm.
He anticipates a lot of throws. So if the route is wrong, it looks like the throw is just way off. But he throws the ball in anticipation that the receiver is going to break open. He doesn't hit a lot of tight windows. You'll see that he throws to a lot of wide receivers that are wide open. He doesn't really have the arm strength to throw in the tight window. He doesn't have that. Last year, played Philly. Was it last year or year before last? The year before. Year before last. Played Philly in Philly. That's his loss, right? In the first half, he threw 2 picks. In the second half, Dallas came back and made the game interesting. How did they do that? Tony Pollard ate y'all's ass up in the second half. That's how we did it. That luxury is not there.
Right.
It's not there. There's nothing that we can do to bring that back. Not this season. Dalvin Cook. So I'll give you another interesting fact that happened this week. So remember last week, Zeke missed a bunch of days, probably because he told everybody he was told that he wasn't going to play. So he missed a couple practices, missed a couple team meetings, and they told him, nope, like that's it. You're not traveling with the team. And everybody was like, okay, Zeke then tore his draws with the Dallas Cowboys. He tore his draws. You miss practices and you miss meetings when you're good, right? You're not good anymore, so you can't do that, right? Well, Zeke is a full participant in everything back this week, and he will probably be the starting running back tomorrow for the Dallas Cowboys.
So how's Dalvin Cook been playing? Is he up?
Dalvin Cook is up. Rico Dowdle's up too.
but they're putting Zeke back in that start. So the way Zeke looked in the first so many weeks, they're saying, do you think he's the best starting running back they have right now?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Hell no. Zeke should be gone. He should be on the practice squad. Maximally on the practice squad. Deuce Vaughn should be in the lineup. He should be playing, right? Somehow, some way, because he's explosive. And you have to give explosive athletes to football. Has
Right.
Zeke given you anything explosive in 3 years?
No. He may be able to give you a couple yards.
Maybe. That's it. 2 yards and a cloud of dust. But we got Hunter Lemke for that.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? We got him for that.
Mhm.
So Zeke was back in practice. And to me, Brittany, this is my own assessment. This is my own opinion. I have no proof of this, but this is what I believe. I believe that Mike McCarthy was tired of Zeke's shit. This is what I believe. And Mike McCarthy said, you're not coming with the team. I believe Mike McCarthy was overridden by Jerry Jones. Nope, Zeke is here. Zeke is going to play. End of story. And Mike McCarthy was like, fuck it. He going to play.
Do you feel like Jerry Jones has an allegiance to, I don't know, to these players and sometimes these coaches that I just feel like he has these allegiance. I don't know. I don't know how to ask the damn question because he just has so much trust in these certain players who you could clearly see is declining, but because he likes them or because they do, they make him look a certain way, they're like, you know what, let's keep him playing or let's keep him coaching or like way past his time.
I think that Jerry made a mistake last year in cutting Zeke because the Cowboy formula that worked for them was Tony Pollard and Zeke.
Right.
That combo, right? And it didn't work last year because because Zeke wasn't there. Right. Mm-hmm. So, but quiet as kept, Tony Pollard rushed for 996 yards. He was 4 yards away from a 1,000-yard season. So obviously it wasn't that terrible. He wasn't the same because remember he broke his leg in the San Francisco game in the playoffs. So he was coming off a broken leg, right? So this year you watch him in Tennessee, it's the same old Tony Pollard.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So if I can't get Tony Pollard back, I'm going to bring Zeke back because I did Zeke wrong. I shouldn't have got rid of him in the first place. Now I'm going to bring him back. And then once you let it out to the media, especially that day two going into that draft, when you told everybody, like, y'all keep talking about we're going to draft a running back and we're trying to see what Zeke is going to do. From that point on, now you got to ride it because you did not draft a running back. You didn't do it. So now, in order to prove yourself right, you have to see what Zeke is going to do. And at week 9, cutting Zeke, that proves you wrong. Hell no, I'm not doing that. You finna put Zeke back in this lineup.
Yeah, Zeke needs to retire.
It's just, the game, especially playing running back, you saw it with Le'Veon Bell. You have this window where you're an excellent running back. And then you continue to be fed the ball and your production kind of stops. Remember when Zeke was here, I think year before last, it was probably week 6. He had something happen to his knee and he started running with that big knee brace.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Ever since then, it has not been the same.
Right.
And I don't really know what happened. I know he gained a little weight. You know what I'm saying? He got up to about 225, but he was so happy this year that he was coming back in at like 215, like his college playing weight. He was coming back in at his college playing weight. And it just hasn't panned out for him. Rico Dowdle is the best running back on this team. Dalvin Cook, I don't think, and I'm not sure how this happens, Brittany, but Dalvin Cook, even though he's been there since the 3rd week of training camp, he does not know his assignments yet. He just doesn't know them. So he's missed some blocks. There was I think in the San Francisco game, there was a play where he should have picked up. I think it was Fred Warner came on a blitz. He should have picked him up, but he went in the flats. Now, was he open in the flats? Hell yeah, he was open in the flats. But when is the last time you seen the Cowboys throw to a running back? In the flats. Dak throws to Rico Dowdle down the field, right? Because he comes in as almost like another receiver, right? He comes out of the backfield and gets downfield. But actually dumping the ball off into the flats or throwing a screen pass to a running back, the Cowboys don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Why? I have no idea. Especially when your offensive line is bad, right? I would throw a shit ton of screens because that would slow down the pass rush. But
Get the ball out of his hand much faster.
Get it out quick. That's why they didn't put the ball down the field against Atlanta, because they didn't trust the offensive line. To get downfield, it takes time. You got to get off the jam. You got to get down the field. It's a human being running, and we don't have no speed burners. We don't have that. Our speed burner got an infection in his knee. He ain't played since week 3. Brandon Cooks.
Oh, jeez. So who are your receivers this game? So CeeDee Lamb may play.
CeeDee Lamb, Jalen Tolbert, probably Kevontae Turpin, and Jalen Brooks as well.
Is Turpin? I see Turpin as a special teams kick return, punt return type of guy.
He is.
How is he as a receiver?
So in the last 2 weeks, he's dropped 2 deep balls, and I've been crying for him to send him deep. But total opposite of how I envisioned him getting down the field.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that Kevontae Turpin should line up in the slot and get down the seam where he's one-on-one with the safety. You don't put him one-on-one with a person with a corner that can actually run with him, because one thing about Kevontae Turpin is that he's 5'7". So if he's running side for side with a dude that's 6'1", he ain't going to see the ball till they get right on him, because the dude is so tall and he got his arms up. If you put him in the slot, you're either going to line him up with a nickel corner or probably a safety, right?
Mm-hmm.
In worst case scenario for the defense, you line him up with a linebacker. So there's going to be a gap where he's open, right? And that's when in the San Francisco game, when Dallas really needed to score, Dak hit him in between the linebackers and the safety. He was open. He hit him. He absorbed the tackle, got down as a gain of 30, right? Perfect situation. When you start lining him up outside, and in that same San Francisco game, he got loose on 3rd down the sideline, on 2nd down the sideline, and Dak dropped an absolute dime to him. He just missed it.
Mm-hmm.
He missed it. He did the same thing last week against Atlanta. Cooper Rush dropped him a dime. He missed it. But it's because he's got to deal with so much traffic strictly because he's vertically challenged, right? And he's looking, and he don't see nothing but the corner's helmet, then all of a sudden the ball pops up. Because it's a person that can run with him. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. If you put him in the slot and just sneak him up the seam where he has to deal with the linebacker and the safety, that's where you scheme him open. You understand what I'm saying? Cowboys don't scheme shit open. They wide receivers don't get no separation. That's another thing about Cooper Rush. Cooper Rush likes to throw to people that are wide open. Cowboy receivers are not finna be wide open. They're not. He's going to have to throw some contested passes under pressure and some tight windows.
I'm just trying to see and understand where the Dallas Cowboys go from here at this point in time. So
I know last episode.
Huh?
You didn't watch my last episode.
I watched some of it. Don't be calling me out like that, Corey. God dang. You're gonna say, don't be calling me out on live like that. You crazy?
I said tank it. Just tank it.
You gonna tank the season?
You're at 11 pick right now. You tank this season, you could be at the top 5 pick.
So who you gonna get in the top 5? What, Travis? Is Travis Hunter a top 10?
I trade down
for Travis Hunter.
I trade down for that running back from Genty from Boise State.
Yeah, I heard about him.
And I said get old boy from Carolina. What's the running back's name in Carolina? Charbonnet? Is that him? What's his last name? I can't even remember his name. You know who I'm talking about, right?
I know who you're talking about.
I said pick him up because he was going to be a free agent, right? Because I said you don't need a bunch of talent. You don't need a bunch of big name players. You need talented players. Well, Carolina heard me and they extended him like the day after I said that.
Yeah, I think they gave him 4-year extension.
They gave him a 4-year extension. It is what it is. And they have the two-headed monster because once Jonathan Brooks gets healthy, right, he is a problem. Because he came right after what's his name in Atlanta, the running back.
Bijan.
He came right after Bijan. So Bijan's last year at Texas, it was Jonathan Brooks and Bijan, right? When Bijan came out, Jonathan Brooks came in and spelled him. The year after him, Jonathan Brooks was special last year, right up until he got hurt. And Carolina drafted him in the 3rd round. And I think that's who the Cowboys really wanted. And once they didn't get him, I just decided they didn't want another running back. Even though Braylon Allen is sitting on the bench in New York for the Jets. He don't really get no burn because what's his name is so good. But Like that is, I was like, if you can get Braylon Allen, and that's like a Derrick Henry type of running back, he like 6'2", 235. You can get him. He can soften things up, and then you have backs like Rico Dowdle that can come in and be your slashing back, and then you be a good team. But you traded your 4th round pick last year for Trey Lance.
And you traded your 4th round pick this year for
Jonathan Mingo.
Who is he even playing? He should be playing.
So he is on the active roster. So it looks like he's gonna play. And if you look at him, he that's a big dude. He's like AJ Brown. He's huge. Huge. Yeah. But how you gonna use him? I think Carolina wanted to use him like Deebo Samuel, right? In that sort of capacity where he can come in, catch some screen passes, a decent wide receiver.
Yeah,
but I can put him in the backfield as well. And it didn't work out.
How tall is he? Do you know?
6'2".
Oh, he's 6'2". Okay.
230.
I'll say, yeah, he's a big boy.
He's a big boy. He's a big boy.
That's a big boy status.
Cowboys don't have one of those. We don't. And I said on my show last week, and I promise you, I was just thinking out loud, and it ended up being they had to have a high draft grade on him. They had to, because that's the only way you put a 4th round pick on it. And then Mike McCarthy said on radio show, on his radio interview on Friday morning, he said we had a high draft grade on him. We just feel like our situation here in Dallas is better than the one in Carolina. How? I have no idea, but
I'm not sure. I was sitting here thinking maybe they feel like the coaching staff can turn things around for Jonathan Mingo. I think when he was coming out of college, look, I'm trying to be positive. I'm trying to be as positive.
His coaching staff got about 7 more games and they gone.
Well, I mean, we'll see. I mean, look, new environment means new things for a player. So,
right.
He probably was frustrated with the Panthers. Their coaching staff is not great over there neither, as we can see. Unless of course the receiver is just lights out. They got the one kid that I really like with Leggett.
Yeah,
I think he'll be a player, but that's because of his talent, not because of how good the coaching staff is.
Agreed.
So, give Mingo some decent coaching. Mike McCarthy's not a bad coach. He's not a bad coach. I'm not a fan of his neither. Hey, I'm not.
I reserve comments for later.
But give Mingo some decent coaching. I don't know if he'll be able to turn anything around this year, but going forward, we'll have to see when he gets a whole off season, see how things go. But yeah, I'm gonna say good luck, Corey.
Yeah, you have to realize that if you give a 4th round draft pick to somebody, you're gonna be here. You're gonna get at least a full season to show what you can do, right? You have to, because I'm not trading a 4th round pick and then I'm gonna cut you at the end of the season or cut you during training camp. I'm not doing that. You know what I'm saying? So he's gonna get an opportunity to do something. Will he do something with it? I sure hope so. Because if I can line up CeeDee Lamb on one side and I got a 230-pound receiver on the other side, right, that can maybe be my possession guy and be my dirty yards guy, it's kind of the same element like you have in Philly, where you got Devontae Smith who can get downfield and give you some things like that. And then you got a big-time possession receiver, A.J. Brown, that can get down the field as well. So it could be that same dynamic. However, I just don't think Jonathan Mingo is A.J. Brown.
Oh, no.
I don't think so. No. So defensively for the Cowboys, it's been a train wreck. That's like the best way I can say it. And it starts with our defensive line. Our defensive line play has been atrocious, but it's kind of what happens when you lose your first 4 defensive ends on your roster. We're down to Carl Lawson as our best defensive end, and he was on the practice squad last year. So
isn't Carl Lawson, hasn't he been in this league for a while?
He's been in the league for a minute. He was in Buffalo last year. He got demoted to the practice squad. Now he's starting defensive end on the Cowboys. So DeMarcus Lawrence gone. He won't be back anytime soon. Micah Parsons is almost there. He's going to be back. Marshawn Nealon had an MCL injury. He'll be out for another 3 weeks. Yeah, and then Sam Williams got hurt towards ACL in training camp, and he's out for the season. So, yeah, that's what we got. defensive tackle play has been horrible.
This don't even feel the same this year. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna be straight up. This situation, I need the Cowboys to be 100% healthy for me to be happy as an Eagles fan. If we win on Sunday, we should win. Again, we should win. I don't know if I'm being excited. I'm supposed to be going here, get ready to sing the Eagles song, talking about EAGL. Yeah, it's coming. It's coming, Corey. It may not come this game, may not come this year, but it's gonna come on this show soon, eventually. So you Cowboys people gonna hate me. I don't care.
Listen, listen. There is. I want the Cowboys to win every week, right? I do, and I studied the Cowboys a lot. I've been studying the Cowboys a lot for years, right? And even before I started doing this, and I only been doing this for a couple of months, right? But I've been studying the Cowboys my whole life. And in the Navy, right, especially when you're out to sea, you don't have anything to look at but stats. You don't have anything to do but read articles because we can't watch every game that's on out there. Even though the Armed Forces Network, they love the Cowboys, so they show the Cowboys most games. But this team has progressively gotten worse in the last 2 years. And the reason it's gotten worse is because there are things that the Cowboys do well. And I'll give you a prime example. And it's funny because I've been saying it for 2 or 3 years. But the announcers in the game started saying it, I think probably like 3 weeks ago. They were like, when the Cowboys have things that happen, in their offensive game plan, and I'm just talking about the offensive game plan, they'll run plays at the beginning of the game that are successful, and then they'll never run them again. You know what I'm saying? So, and I'll give you a prime example. In that fourth quarter, when they were playing San Francisco, they came out. Their third quarter was atrocious. They played like ass, right? But in the fourth quarter, they took off, right? And they were like, in that last drive where you're down by 6, right? You need a touchdown. You got the ball at the 30. You're not in a bad position. I think you're down by 4. You're not in a bad position. You got decent field position, and you got 2 minutes and 30-some seconds with 2 timeouts. There is no way in hell that these plays that worked three drives ago, I'm not running them plays. And they came out with 3 bullshit ass plays and go 4 and out, and then the game is over. Essentially, it's over. And it's like, what are we doing here? You know what I'm saying? But the way that this whole thing works with the Dallas Cowboys, and the reason that it's been so bad for so long, is Jerry. It's Jerry. And the reason it's Jerry is because, and I blame Jerry. Like, people watching, they don't have to blame Jerry, but I blame Jerry. The reason that I say that is because, and I forgot to do this, Britt, and we got a lot of them to go through. And the reason that I say this is because Chris talking shit. So the reason.
Oh, don't put that pressure on us. I appreciate it, but that's too much pressure on the Eagles.
The reason that I say
let's
that,
keep our underdog status, please.
Somebody said the Cowboys will win. It's time.
They smoking as much weed as half these players be out here smoking.
Playing, we will get the last laugh. Okay, Andre, hey, listen to me.
Last laugh, okay.
My brother. I like the enthusiasm. I like your confidence, man. I do, and I hope you are right. How's it going, panel? I think the Eagles have too much firepower for the Cowboys. However, this is a division game. Anything can happen. I agree. I agree with you 100%. However, so E-Money Bentley said, go Birds. All right.
Go Birds. Let's go.
Practice squad. He needs a running back coach. I ain't talking about Zeke. He got to be talking about Zeke. If Jerry drafted you or discovered you extremely loyal to a fault, it's not about the player or the coach. That's about Jerry being a good guy. That's about Jerry's ego. Agreed, Larry. 100%. It's about his ego. Confirmed that Dak is having season injury surgery. Well, if that is confirmed, and I haven't seen that one yet, but if it's confirmed, this is what we got. Shout out to Corey and Britt. Thank you, Sports T. I appreciate that. It's not that serious, Sports T. I love it. Wow. So, Chris said, "Boo, both teams suck."
Chris, don't come on here and start your stuff. Now I just rooted
Right.
for your team the other day. Now don't do that.
I like both teams, just like Dallas Cowboy fans more. Hey, you know what? There was a popularity contest, and it was like the least popular team in the NFL, or the most hated team in the NFL. And the Cowboys were number 2. They were number 2. Philly was number 5. Dallas was number 2.
I can see that.
Who you think was number 1?
Patriots?
No, they were number 3.
Number 1 most hated team? It can't be the Chiefs.
No, they were like halfway down the list. Yeah. I think the least hated team in the NFL, Chris, hold your ears, was the Detroit Lions. Everybody loves Detroit, even though they said that Detroit is starting to get on everybody's nerves because they actually pretty good now. But it was like the Colts were at the bottom, at the second to last.
So
San Francisco.
Really? I could see that with Philly fans. I could see it with Philly fans because they started this whole stupid stuff a couple years ago. Really, I would have never thought San Francisco.
Look at that.
We know who the real America. All right, that's enough. We gotta stop this nonsense.
It's crazy. Detroit got good, and then everybody they're talking shit. Hey, you know what though? I give it to Chris though. Chris is a Detroit Lions fan, but I see people walking around and work with Detroit Lions jerseys on. Like, boy, you don't name me 3 players to play for the Lions. You know what I'm saying? I don't say nothing because there's a lot of people come in, Cowboy fans, right? We come to work. I got my little cowboy lanyard on and work all the time, whatever. You know what I'm saying? And, people, they come in and, people still wear their Cowboy jerseys and stuff. It's proud, it's loyal fans. You know what I mean? But hey, we ask, it is.
I can't stand the Cowboy fans who are not from the Texas area. Those are the fans I can't stand because half of them are bandwagon fans. You've never seen the team win anything. You just jumped on them because you heard they got 5 Super Bowl rings from like 30 years ago. I'm like, where did you even come from? You weren't even relevant when they were winning. So you got to stop. Those are fans I can't stand. And then they be out here in Philly or Jersey talking about, I'm a real Cowboys fan. No, you're not. Sit down somewhere. Sit down.
It sound like you hating now. It sounds like you hating now. But anyway, so
I gotta hate for life. We hate for life here. Come on now. It is the Philly culture. Corey, it's so bad. I can't even date a Cowboys fan. That's how bad it is.
I told you. It's a date, but I'm taking you to McDonald's. That's all you get. You're a Philly fan. You don't get no nice restaurant. That's it. You get McDonald's.
That's how bad it gets out here.
It's terrible.
I can't raise a Cowboy person. Like it, or my people get on me. Nope. That means I'm a bad parent if we raise a Cowboys fan.
I got a friend of mine. Shout out to Leslie Ellis. That's my girl. You know what I'm saying? We were in the Navy together. She is a diehard Eagle fan. I mean, a diehard Eagle fan. She probably on here, right? But look at Chris. Look at Chris said.
Yeah, Chris, sit down.
Take no sense. Golly.
Thank you.
Terrible. That's terrible. So, we had a bet one year on the ship, and it was Dallas, Philly, and she told me, she going. I'm talking about walking through the ship talking shit, and I was so mad, man. I said, I bet you Philly win, and if Philly loses, you got to wear my Dallas Cowboy t-shirt, and if they win, she said, I got a jersey in my rack right now, and Philly won, and I had that damn jersey. And every year around this time, she sent me some crazy ass message, and then she sent me this picture. And if the Cowboys lose on Sunday, the first thing you will see when the screen pop up is me with that jersey on.
Can we see it now?
No, you can't.
Can we predict?
As a Cowboys
already, we know what's going to happen.
He said I seen every Cowboy Super Bowl they played in. So I have not seen every one of them, but I saw the ones when Jimmy was the coach. And last time they won a Super Bowl, I was in the 8th grade.
All right, what else is? I mean, first of all, you're from Texas. You're from that area, so that's first and foremost.
Meat off the bone. That's crazy. That's bad. Yeah, and it came from a scramble. And the crazy part about it is that's the longest run of the Cowboys season. 22 yards.
I will say this though, Corey. I am intrigued on how, or I'm excited to see how, because y'all got one hell of a wide receiver in CeeDee Lamb, and if he's able to play, if he's able to go on Sunday, I know you guys line him up inside and outside, and odds are they're going to put him up against our two rookies, and Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell, who has been playing very well. I'm very interested to see how these two young rookies play up against a talented, extremely talented wide receiver in CeeDee Lamb. So it's going to be a test for them.
So interesting that you bring that up, because that's one of my keys to victory for the Cowboys. Is CeeDee Lamb, if healthy enough, and this is why I think it could be a blessing and a curse. I believe he matches up against your rookie corners very well in the slot, right? I believe that. However, if you line up CeeDee Lamb in the slot, he is more susceptible to shots. And I believe if he gets hit on that shoulder good enough, because it's a pain tolerance thing now. They were like, look, it'll get better, but it's not going to get any worse, right? Unless you can just completely separate it, right? But it's mainly one of those things like you can play with it, right? But it's going to be how much pain can you take? Last week, somebody bumped into him and he was in excruciating pain. If he climb his ass across the middle against one of them rookie corners and get open and get to playing with them safeties back there and get hit in that shoulder, I think you might see the last of CeeDee Lamb for this game and maybe for a couple of weeks, right? Because right now he's out there because he knows for a fact, and the Cowboy offense knows for a fact, that that's the only weapon that they got.
Right.
He's the only chance that you have to being in a football game. You're not going to run the ball well. In order to get CeeDee Lamb the ball down the field, your offensive line is going to have to protect Cooper Rush, and CeeDee Lamb is going to have to get open. I don't know if that's possible. My second key to victory for the offense is exactly that. The offensive line is going to have to protect Cooper Rush like there's no tomorrow. You already failed at protecting Dak Prescott. You have to protect the second one. And my third key to victory, and it's a weird one, right, is inside the 10-yard line, put Trey Lance in the game and let him run.
Really?
He's on the active roster now. Watch him during the preseason. His biggest attribute that he had to the Cowboy offense was his ability to run the football. If your offensive line is not going to protect, right? This is your 4th round draft pick from last year. This is your 4th round pick. Put him in the game and see what he can do. If he can get, and I do not trust him going in the game and throwing the ball 25, 30 times. I don't trust that at all. But what I do trust is him coming in the red zone and running some read option with Dalvin Cook or not with Zeke. That shit, that don't, you know what's going to happen with that. But with Rico Dowdle or Dalvin Cook, right, and running some read option and put Philly's defense under some pressure and make them make some plays. You know what I'm saying? He's athletic. He's strong. He's fast. He'd be the fastest person in the Cowboy backfield. Let him have the ball.
I guess the counter at, I think Jalen Carter is going to be important to this game. Yeah. Because I'm be honest, we don't have much at pass rushing whatsoever. That is one of our weak points on our defense. But Jalen Carter creates some good
bread.
The Colorado Buffs are blowing right now.
They blowing them out. But listen to me.
They better win.
Atlanta was last in the NFL. They had 2 sacks total all season. Right? I think they got 4 sacks last week. They doubled their numbers for the season against this Cowboy offensive line. This Cowboy offensive line is bad.
Corey, don't try to get me up here smiling because you know I'm gonna be happy and all of a sudden.
I'm just speaking the truth. They're bad.
The Philliness comes out of the Philadelphia Eagles, and all of a sudden somehow they end up just being a close game where they lose, and I'm gonna be salty for the next time till we play the Cowboys.
So I hope that happens. There's a way to fix this offensive line. I just don't think that they'll ever do it, right? Because of the money that you pay Terrence Steele. Right now, you could move Tyler Smith to left tackle. Is he an all-pro left guard? Sure he is. He is, of course. He's been all-pro left guard for the last 2 years. But his rookie season, he was a left tackle, and he didn't do bad. And the games he played left tackle in this year, and like the game against San Francisco, he played well, right? He played well. Move him to left tackle. Got a guy on the bench named TJ Bass, who is a quality player. He just hasn't really had an opportunity. But every time he has an opportunity to play, he does pretty decent. Put him at left guard.
Mm-hmm.
Tyler Guyton has played right tackle since high school. Move him to his natural position to right tackle. Guard, you can rotate, one of these guys out with Zach Martin if he starts to get tired or his back starts to hurt or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And I know he's just getting older, right? You kind of rotate him out, have a swing guard in there to rotate in and out with him, right? And I believe that fixes some of your problems so you can address it in the offseason. It's a way to put a Band-Aid on it this year.
Right.
Will they ever do that? Probably not.
Nah. They'll probably just look to sign somebody or draft someone in the offseason.
Right. So what I was saying about the draft, but Cowboys going to play their best game of the season on Sunday. I think the best game of the season that they've played was against Pittsburgh, and I think that would be the best game that they play all year. I do. And because it's, you got another big rivalry game next week. You got, and it's a non-conference game, but it's against the Houston Texans, right? Mm-hmm. Houston and Dallas. It's always going to be the battle for Texas, right? And you can't let little brother come in here and whoop your ass. You can't do it.
Are they the best team in Texas right now?
So hard for me to answer right now. I'm gonna play like I didn't hear that and just keep going. So
I said right now, I ain't say forever.
Right now, they are, but they're dealing with their own issues. You know what I'm saying? They got issues too. They're not perfect at all. They're dealing with their own issues, but I said a couple weeks ago that I felt like that the San Francisco game was the most important game of the season. And the reason I said that was because you get them off a bye and they've been whooping your ass for the last 3 years. And they've been whooping your ass. And you had an opportunity to get some get back. And they were kind of down too, right?
Yep.
And you came off the bye week and you laid a dud. You laid a dud up until the fourth quarter. And the thing about the Cowboy offense, and I never really thought about this. And Mike McCarthy, he said some very, very, very smart things the week after that game. He's like, look, we could continue in this hurry up offense. And I think that the Cowboys are better in the hurry up offense because I think Dak is calling his own plays and he knows how to scheme people open. I just don't think Mike McCarthy calls plays to scheme people open. He calls plays that are drawn on the board and you run those routes and that's it. And, everybody's figured that shit out. But
it's going to rush good in the hurry up offense.
No, he's not. But the thing about Cooper Rush going to run what Mike McCarthy called. That's what he's going to run. That's why the offense was so run heavy when Cooper Rush was the quarterback, right? You don't have that luxury now. The best thing that the Cowboys could probably do tomorrow is line up double tight end and just run the ball and just see what happens.
Right.
Maybe it's effective because then it keeps the ball out of that Philly offense, keeps it out of their hands. And maybe you can make Jalen Hurts press. If you're running the ball down the field, 15, 16 play drives and scoring touchdowns, that's your best opportunity to win tomorrow. It is. It's your best opportunity. But we don't have that luxury this year. Our longest run is from our quarterback that tore his hamstring on the run for 22 yards. That's your longest run of the season. Your running backs right now averaging, I think as a total, they're averaging 2.9 yards per carry.
2.9 yards per carry.
That's what we got. Rico Dowdle is the only running back that's averaging over 4.
But he's not your starter.
He's the one that gets the most carries. I think Zeke goes out there first because it's important for him to go out there first. So you go out there for a couple plays and go sit your ass down and let Rico do what he does.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense to me.
No, I'm telling you,
If
it
doesn't make sense to me.
came from that day 2 of the draft when Jerry sat there and told everybody that they weren't going to draft a running back, and we want to see what Zeke going to do. Now Zeke is going to play. I don't care what Mike McCarthy says. I don't care what your running back coach says. I do not care if Zeke will play. That's why he's back on the team.
I mean, look, y'all, I'm being honest with you. I'm talking to everybody here. I'm happy. I'm very happy as a Philly fan. But as a person who loves the game of football, I just don't look. Cowboys are supposed to be good regardless. I feel like they're messing up somehow for no reason, and it's stupid decisions that's being made, and it's disappointing, to be honest with you. And I actually feel bad. Well, I'm gonna say Corey is the one football a Dallas fan that I feel bad for.
Why?
So
why you feel bad for me?
Hold on, y'all. I cannot hear. Something just went out. I don't know what just happened. See how that works? See, I feel bad, and Philadelphia was like, cut her hearing out. So I'm gonna be right back because I can't hear crap.
For sure. So the Cowboy offense, with Cowboy defense, we all know it's been bad, right? It has been bad specifically because of defensive line play. I do not think that the linebackers are bad. I think DeMarvin Overshown is one of the bright spots on the defense. I think Eric Kendricks is an excellent free agent pickup, probably because he was the only free agent pickup, right? I think that is, a linebacker that you can build around for the next few years. He's getting a little bit up there in age, but he's one of those guys where you can put him in the middle and he's going to get you 100 tackles every season. And I think your other outside linebacker, whoever it's going to be, if it's going to be Lou Fowl, Damone Clark, whoever it's going to be, if they continue to do that rotational thing, I think it'll be okay. Trayvon Diggs over at the corner, he's coming off of ACL surgery. He's just starting to get his feet out he's starting to get his feet underneath him. I don't know what's wrong with Deron Bland, but whatever it is, and they talked about it was a stress fracture in his foot, and that was the last week of training camp. He hasn't even practiced yet. There's something going on with that where people aren't being honest about it. They're not being honest about it. And it could be one of those things, Brittany, can you hear me?
I can hear you now. I'm good.
It could be one of those things like, remember how Yao Ming had that bad foot and he just never recovered from it? Maybe it's something like that. I don't know, but it's weird because they said that he woke up to play in the last preseason game and he said his foot hurt. And they went and did an x-ray on it, and they were like, you got a stress fracture. That's about a month injury. Brittany, we on week 10, and we've already had the bye week, and he hasn't even practiced yet.
I think it was a little bit worse than what they were leading on to be. It had to be.
JJ is the downfall for Dallas winning anything. As long as he's the owner, GM, and the president and the same person, Dallas won't win anything significant. Man Down Sports said 100. I can't say it any better than that, right? So
he's not giving that up anytime soon. As long as he's here, he's not giving that up.
No, he's not. So it's not that serious. This is my assessment of what you said. I agree with you 100%, but I think it goes a little bit deeper than that. I think it's one of those things, and I've said it before on previous podcasts, and I'll say it one more time because it just feels like it fits right here, right? This is Jerry's dream to own the Dallas Cowboys. This is Jerry's dream to be the face of the Dallas Cowboys. Jerry's dream was to stand in front of cameras and do interviews and things like that before the team even got interviewed. He wanted to be the face of the franchise, and he's been that, right? He's been that since Jimmy Johnson left. If you think for any moment that Jerry is going to bring another coach in here that's going to threaten him like Jimmy Johnson did, you are sadly mistaken. So therefore, Dallas will continue to rotate these mediocre coaches through here, and you'll get mediocre game plans, and you'll have great play in the regular season. But when it comes time, the checkerboard goes away and the chessboard comes out in the playoffs, Dallas will not be successful.
They'll be successful, Corey.
Tell me how.
They'll be successful just in value.
Perfect. Because it's hard to tell Jerry that he's losing when he bought something for $170-something million, and now it's worth $12 billion.
The highest franchise, valued franchise in any sport.
In the world.
In the world, in any sport.
So you can't tell him he losing.
Can't tell him nothing.
Can't tell him nothing. Because listen, they were like, you go to Cowboy games, this season, and I've been to 2, 3. I got one more game. It's more the opposing team fans than it is Cowboy fans. But it's full of fans, right?
Mm-hmm.
You paying for parking. You paying for your seats. You paying for that beer. You paying for that hot dog. You paying for them nachos. You know what I'm saying? Shit, my seats are sold. I don't know what y'all tripping on. Shit, I just banked in.
Paying for that ugly ass star.
It's just a little rusty this year. That's all.
My favorite meme was the one that that's not a star. That's a rating.
JM, y'all, you absolutely right. Jerry's dream is every Cowboy fan's nightmare. You hit the nail on the head, buddy. Absolutely, 100%. So, my keys to victory for the defense. Stop Saquon, and stop Saquon. You got a chance if you do that. That's it. Yeah. That is your only chance to win this football game is if you stop Saquon Barkley.
But I'm gonna spoil that chance because you stack that box. Now you got AJ Brown and Devontae Smith on the outside, and they are one-on-one killers.
You gotta pick your poison.
Yeah.
Listen, do you want a slow, dreadful, painful death, or do you want a quick strike death where you never feel it coming? It's up to you what you want.
I'm not picking that, but I'll have Cowboys teams pick that. Y'all make that decision. I'm not going to make that decision for y'all.
But for real, you got to slow down Saquon Barkley. You have to.
Yeah.
Second key of victory is you can't let these dudes get behind you. You got to keep everything in front of you. I'm not necessarily worried about A.J. Brown getting down the field. I do worry about him with 50-50 balls. That's why I would put Trayvon Diggs on him. A.J. Brown's not a speed burner. He's not that. But he's a great 50-50 ball dude. Right now, Trayvon Diggs is not running well at all. But he still is Trayvon Diggs. He can jump up and make some plays, right? That's what you have to do. You have to put Trayvon Diggs on A.J. Brown and let him follow him around the field. The thing about it is that the Cowboys are not going to do that. Trayvon Diggs is going to line up at right cornerback, and whoever it is going to line up at left cornerback. If Trayvon Diggs can play. If Trayvon Diggs can't play, we're in a world of trouble. Right? And the third key to victory is you're going to have to tackle well. You have to. Jalen Hurts is a load. Saquon Barkley is a load. A.J. Brown is a load. Tight end, load. Yeah, you got big people all over this football team. Big, strong individuals that are hard to bring down. You have to tackle them.
Mm-hmm.
I say on first contact with everybody but Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley, you're going to have to come as a unit. And don't get hurdled backwards. Don't do that. Don't put yourself on that type of film. You're going to have to do something. You're going to have to get to him. Team football, team tackling. You have to get to him. Cavalry gets there, surrounds him, makes him you just minimize his yards after contact. And I think that if they can do that, they have an opportunity. If the keys to victory all line up and this is the perfect game and they play the perfect game tomorrow, the Cowboys have a chance, right? They do.
Mm-hmm.
The problem with all 6 of those keys to victory is that shit ain't lined up all season long.
And it better not tomorrow.
So, with that being said, Britt, what's your prediction?
Can I do like quick keys to victory for the Eagles?
Go for it.
It's not going to take me long at all. Not going to take me long at all. Because I think there's 2 main keys to victories for the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm going to say it on offense. Mainly on offense, because the defense hasn't been playing bad. Although they're very young, they have not been playing bad all year long. Number 1, minimize the penalties. Oh, you said show up. Okay, I do 3. Number 1, show up. Yes. Number 2, minimize the penalties, especially across that offensive line. I don't want to constantly see the idiotic penalties anymore. We're too far into the season to keep making the same mistakes. And number 3, play calling, coaching and play calling. I hope the play calling is on point. Kellen's been doing a lot better since the bye week. But most importantly, Nick Sirianni has to understand situational football and just make good coaching decisions. Stop making the unnecessary decisions that you don't have to make. I understand being aggressive is great and all, but you don't have to do it all the time. Do not take points off the board. And that's what happened last week. He took 10 points off the board last week. 10 points. That's a lot of points in an NFL football game. We are still in the NFL. I understand the Cowboys are hurting a little bit. They may not have as much talent, but you cannot take 10 points off the board in any NFL football game. I don't care who you're going up against.
I got you. What's your score?
My prediction. This is a lot harder than I thought. Trolling. No, I'm going with the Eagles. If everything goes right, if the Eagles play how they're supposed to play, the defense again is young, but they are coming, and I love the way Vic Fangio has been making play calls on that side of football. Not perfect, but pretty good. I'm gonna say, because I just feel like Nick Sirianni is going to get into his own way. I'm gonna say 28-17. I'm gonna say 28-17. I don't think we'll get to 30.
So I said 35-17, right? That's what I said before. I want you to see what this dude put on here. This dude, Gregory Davis.
Oh, I would love it, Gregory Davis. I would so heartily love it.
So
kind of feel bad, but I would love it.
So my prediction is that the Eagles will win 35-17. And the reason I say that is because I don't think the Cowboys will be able to stop the run. And I think it'll look like one of those games like New Orleans, where it's just play action passes and Jalen Hurts will be hitting wide open receivers. That's kind of how I envision it going, right? Mike said he got the Eagles winning by 21. That's fair. It's not that serious. Said 34-10 Eagles. It's tough, and it's hard to pick your team to lose. I think Cooper Rush he'll probably throw a couple picks. I think the only way that you could probably offset that is you're going to have a successful day running the football, and we just haven't had that yet. We haven't. So Mike says 30-9 Eagles. So we're all kind of around the same boat. It's going to be tough tomorrow. It's going to be tough to watch, I believe, because Philly is going to come in here and they're going to come in here with a chip on their shoulder. Dallas beat them last game. That was a very exciting game that last time they played. Saquon Barkley hasn't had very much success against the Cowboys. I think he's going to come in here. He's going to run the ball hard. He's going to have a chip on his shoulder. And I believe Sirianni is going to be like, okay, Cowboys can't stop the run. And, Kellen Moore, don't come up with this crazy ass shit. You know what I'm saying? You continue to turn around and hand the ball to Saquon Barkley and run the football. The Cowboys were at full strength. I would have a lot more to say about Kellen Moore, but right now I just don't have the room to say it. I don't.
Wait, Corey, you've been doing pretty good since the bye week, so you got to give him that credit.
I give him that.
That's not Nick Sirianni. I'm telling you this right now. That is not him. That is not him.
He said if the Eagles don't take the Cowboys serious, the Cowboys can win by 3. Now,
well, I mean, I agree.
That would be great, and I think the score would be 13-10, and it would be all field goals. It would be 15-10, and it would be all field goals. That's what I believe, because I just don't think that the Cowboy offense, especially when the field condenses and it gets inside the 20, like when we get inside the red zone. This is why I asked for Trey Lance and some read option, because the Cowboy offense play calling inside the red zone is bad.
Right.
It is terrible. Right. And I've been saying this all season. I sit here and I hope we're going to figure this out for the next time the Cowboys and the Eagles play, and we're going to figure out how to do this live. We can sit here and watch this game and just kind of do a play-by-play thing for it. I sit here with my brother and my boy Bob, and we sit here, right? And I can call Cowboy plays at about 70%, 60 to 70%. If I can do it with that type of efficiency, and I'm not saying I'm like a football guru, but I understand the game and I watch the Cowboys enough to know what they're gonna do, right? If I'm doing it at that high of a rate, what makes you think that a defensive coordinator sitting in a booth that gets paid $2 million to do so is not doing it at 90%?
Mm-hmm.
There's no creativity to it whatsoever. And that all falls on Mike McCarthy because he is the play caller. He took over those play calling duties 2 years ago. So this is his play calls. And there's a reason why the offense works better when he's in a hurry up offense, because he's calling his own plays. But Mike McCarthy, and I didn't finish my point last time. Mike McCarthy said, well, when we run that type of offense and we're efficient, we're not giving the defense time to rest. That's why we like to do it at the beginning of the game, right? And then we'll go into the regular offense, and then hopefully we can get back to it at the end of the game. Right? Because they get down the field very quick when Dak is calling the plays. They do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if Cooper Rush can call plays like that. He didn't do it last year. Well, last year he didn't really have a chance to do it because they were winning. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. They didn't lose till they got to Philly, but they were winning because they were running the ball extremely well and they were playing good defense. That's why they were winning. So I don't think that is going to happen tomorrow. I think Philly's going to put some pressure on them, and I think it's going to start on the defensive side for the Cowboys. The Philly offense is going to put a lot of pressure on them, and the offense is going to try to respond. And if you start to turn the ball over trying to respond, that's when you get yourself into trouble, and I can see that happening. So he says embarrassing 2012 for the season. Make the Cowboys and Jerry Jones the offseason 2012. You know what? So I kind of touched on this topic my last episode. There are some things. If you go, I said like how the Cowboys can make almost $100 million in salary cap space, and the list of free agents for 2025 is amazing. There are some great free agents coming out in 2025. And there's also some good players right in the middle that are good, strong, young football players that can come in a team. They're just looking for an opportunity to be successful, right? And those are the type of guys that you would go after. Sure, you can get some big name free agents. Absolutely. But big name free agents cost a lot of money. You could literally gut the whole right side of your offensive line, make Zach Martin retire, and just get rid of Terrence Steele. But you got to get rid of him before, I think, February 1st. And he don't count against the salary cap next year. Just cut him. Just let him go. Mm-hmm. Sorry, I made a mistake. Paid you some money. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll holler at you later, right? And them two safeties, they got to go. Your defensive line, except for Osi Odigizua, but I think that I think he's a free agent next year, and I think he'll probably leave anyway. But you can go get some hungry defensive tackles, right? You got defensive ends. Sure, they're going to be coming off injury, but you got them. You understand what I'm saying? They're there. Your cornerback situation, you got to re-sign Deron Bland. You need him if that foot is okay, right? But on the offensive side of the ball, you have to have another wide receiver. You need to rebuild the right side of your offensive line. And damn it, if you don't get no running backs, I quit.
Corey, quick question.
Yes, ma'am.
This might be a shot at Skip Bayless a little bit. He might watch this show. I'm going, yep, I'm saying it. How's Mozzie Smith doing? Because at one point in time, didn't Skip Bayless say he was the best defensive line in that daggone draft?
Mozzie Smith is what's the best way I can say this? Ass, trash, booty cheeks. Done. Right? But he is your first round draft pick. Right? He is your first round draft pick. He's strong.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a pretty good size. He weighs 320 pounds, right? He dropped down last year. They say he dropped down last year like 295. He gained weight back. He got up to about 320, right? He has had flashes where he has played well, but the majority of his play this year has been bad. You see Mozzie Smith, and you'll see Mozzie Smith tomorrow. A couple plays, he'll be 5 or 6 yards up the field. He won't, no penetration. He'll be up the field. He'll be back there with the safeties. And you try to figure out how. And it's not because he's turning and running the plays, because he's getting driven like that.
Mm-hmm.
He's slow off the ball. And you know, just to be honest with you, Cowboys don't have good luck drafting Michigan players. You drafted a Michigan tight end, Luke Schoonmaker, last year, right, in the second round. Luke Schoonmaker has played a total of 2 snaps since the bye week. Can't break the lineup. They would rather put the fullback Hunter Lemke as the second tight end than put Schoon back in.
And he's supposed to be a decent tight end coming into the league.
He was supposed to be. Hear me out. He said, "Here, read me out." There was a channel that called themselves Sports Therapy. Their concept was awesome. They had 2 channels live stream while watching the teams play. Go live while both audiences follow the stream. The encouragement, okay. The originators stopped doing this after the Hamlin situation. It was an incredible way of viewing sports. Okay.
Check it out.
We're checking that out. Trey Lance or Cooper Rush?
Ooh.
Okay, Mikey, that's a great question. I'm kind of at the point where I say Trey Lance. And hear me out. Hear me out. Just hear me out. Trey Lance gives you the mobility that neither Dak Prescott or Cooper Rush can give you. And the way this offensive line is playing, just him on some design runs would kind of slow down the pass rush, but then he's got to throw the ball, right? And I just don't know if you trust Trey Lance throwing the ball 25 times a game. I just don't know that you do that because he's not very accurate. He's not going to put the ball in any tight windows, and we know, just certain stats that the Cowboy wide receivers this year aren't getting much separation. I don't think you can trust that. However, I'm listening.
What happened if you, and I'm not trying to give y'all any ideas, but what if Trey Lance, because we know knowing how his arm is just not the best. But if you look to do a lot of run plays with him, but maybe dink and dunk, do you think he could be somewhat accurate if he's throwing no more than a couple yards down the field, just dink and dunk it down the field?
I think he could be successful like Justin Fields was in Pittsburgh early in the season. But remember, Pittsburgh had a decent running game to go with it. And that's the thing about the Cowboys with Trey Lance. If Trey Lance was in the backfield, Trey Lance would be the running game. The way this running game is going, he would be the running game.
Mm-hmm.
And the last time he ran like that was in San Francisco. He ended up with a broke ankle.
Jesus.
It's tough, man. It's tough.
Jesus.
He said I became a fan when you did a JJ Crash Out show. I appreciate it, man. I thought I was gonna get canceled after that one. I'm not gonna lie to you because that shit was hilarious, bro. But it shows you that he's under a lot of pressure because what he did was he sold us a bunch of dreams at the beginning of the season. He told us that this team was gonna be good. And there was some guys, and the reason they didn't do anything in free agency like that was because there were some guys that they felt like last year that could have played. They just had some guys that were playing that were better than them last year.
Or you got to see what he said before that, though.
Which one?
Didn't he say he was going to do anything and everything to make this team better?
He did say that. And he also said he was all in.
Yes, that's what it was.
He also said he was all in. So that is a great point. That is a great point. And I talked about that on my last episode, Gregory. When you have opportunities to have money like that in your salary cap, you absolutely have to attack free agency. I say that, Gregory, to ask you this, because I said the exact same thing in my last episode, how they could open up $100 million easy in salary cap space. When is the last time Jerry Jones has hit free agency hard? I can answer it for you. Never. Never. The only way that this team will be successful next year is if he steps out the way and let somebody else do it. Let Will McClay do it. I think Will McClay could probably put a good team together. I think that, but you have to stay out of the way. You can't be involved in it. If you want to make the phone calls on draft day and you want to be the first voice that they hear on draft day, cool. You can do that. But the draft process leading up to you making that phone call, you keep your ass out the way because it hasn't worked for you in 30 years. So that's the only way. Go ahead.
If Jerry does that, which odds are is probably a good 5% out of 100. if he does that, do you give Mike McCarthy another year?
Yes. Because I don't think Mike McCarthy is the problem. I do think this. I think Mike McCarthy needs to bring an offensive coordinator in here. Or listen, Brian Schottenheimer got Trevor Lawrence paid. That offense was dynamic in Jacksonville that year. This is not the same offense. Let him implement his offense. Because right now, I think you're running Mike McCarthy's offense. I just think that Brian Schottenheimer is a figurehead right now. He's the offensive coordinator. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of things that have to happen. Like, you need to get some young coaches in here, man. And I don't care if you got an older guy as the head coach. Your coordinators need to be in their 30s and 40s, and they need to work, and they need to be able to connect with these players, and they need to be able, running down the sideline, chest bumping players when they're coming off the field. You know what I'm saying? Headsets going flying, all types of things. You know what I'm saying? That's the kind of atmosphere that you need to bring into this team. But what that does is that puts all the focus on the sideline and all the focus on the coaches, because they like, boy, they are really turning this Cowboy team around. We ain't seen this shit since Jimmy was here. And once that happens, once that correlation starts to happen, then all the attention starts to come off Jerry. And he ain't having that shit.
No, he is not. And last question from me to you pertaining to you guys off season. It's just a thought, because there's a lot of you guys need some players. Y'all need some talent on this team.
We do.
And somebody said this to me on Tuesday, the Sideline Speaks.
Okay.
What do you think about Micah Parsons being extremely valued about trading him to get a bunch of draft capital and going out and get your players?
It's too late.
You think it's too late?
His contract is up.
But they're going
it's too late. If you were gonna do that, you had to do that before last week.
Last week, yeah.
You was gonna have to do that before last week. So you almost to a point now where you gotta sign him, or you letting him walk for nothing.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? Now, could you do a sign and trade? Sure. But then you go, if I trade you, I'm gonna tell you, like, hey, you responsible for half that salary, home slice.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Now, yeah, I trade you 2 my first round draft picks, but you responsible for half of that salary. You know what I'm saying? These are the kind of business moves that needed to be made. If they was gonna be made. Now, I may be mistaken. He may have another year on his contract.
Mm-hmm.
He might, but I'm almost.
Is this his 4th year or his 5th year? No, this is his.
Is
this his 4th? Because I know he gets the 5th year option. Or is this not his 3rd,
now,
right?
You can no, it's not. It's the 4th, going in his 5th. You can exercise that 5th round option. He came out in 20, right? He was in that 2020 draft.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You can exercise his 5th year option and then try to trade him, but you'd have to trade him next year. Or you have to trade him right before the draft.
Right.
Would I do that? I tell you why I would. Right? Just as bad as as Dak Prescott has been in big time games, I think Micah Parsons has been worse.
Mm-hmm.
Always a no-show. Always. So a lot of times I'd be thinking like, okay, perfect example was not San Francisco, Miami last year. Dak goes down with 1 minute and 34 seconds and gives you the lead.
Mm-hmm.
Now's when we need a sack. Now's when we need a big play. And who do you look for your big play? You look for your star players. And our star player on defense is Micah Parsons. And I think Micah Parsons got a personal foul, gave him 15 yards in that drive, and they ended up scoring and winning the game. You see what I'm saying? So, but one thing that Micah Parsons is he's a dynamic athlete. You have to prepare for him. You have to. And he takes a little bit of that offensive protection. He takes it away because you got to double team him. And he opens up things for other players. Now, if you're willing to have a player like that for $32 million a year, then sign him. If you're not, trade him. Could you get some draft capital for him? Hell yeah. It's a lot of teams that would love to have Micah Parsons. Could you imagine Aiden Hutchinson and Micah Parsons together in Detroit?
I will hate that. So
that would be rough.
They can't afford that anyway.
Nah, they can't afford it. But it would be rough, right? But there's teams that could definitely capitalize on it. I could see him going somewhere like Seattle and being very good, right? Being very good. I wouldn't let his ass go nowhere like San Francisco. I wouldn't let him go somewhere where I got to play him, like all the time. I just wouldn't do it because I think next year, just the way the rotation works, you're going to have to play Frisco again because it should be NFC West time next year.
Mm-hmm.
I have to play the NFC West next year because last time you played them was in 2020. So you got to play San Francisco again next year. You see what I'm saying? There's ways that you can make capital off of it. But would I do it? I'm not sure, Britt. I think he's playing. I'm not a big fan of him at defensive end, strictly because he wasn't a defensive end in college. He was an outside linebacker that came on the blitz.
Right.
And that's where he was great. You understand what I'm saying? Dan Quinn likes small defensive ends like Bruce Irvin. So he wanted to use Micah Parsons like Bruce Irvin. Well, now, right? Micah Parsons is like, well, I want to play defensive end because defensive ends get paid. You move me to outside linebacker, right? I'm not going to get paid.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know what I'm saying? It's up to them. Do you think the Cowboys will be playing like this under Bill Belichick? Now, here's the thing about that, Mike. When Bill Belichick came here, Bill Belichick wants some control. He ain't getting no control here. So it's kind of one of them things like, shit, Bill Belichick wouldn't come here no way. So I don't know. Here's a question: if it's better for the Cowboys to win or lose this season, and why? I think it'd be better for them to lose because I want that draft pick. Because another way you can gain draft capital like that is having a top 5 pick and trading down. And you can get a first and a second or a first and a third, especially if there's a player that somebody really, really wants right there at that number 5 position. You're like, hey, swap me picks and give me your second, or swap me picks and give me your third. That's how you need another 3rd pick because you just wasted your 4th pick on Jonathan Mingo.
And teams get desperate. If they're trying to trade up, it's a guy they want, they get desperate. So you might get more than.
He said the Eagles first offense. That's nonsense. Shit. Have you seen Saquon Barkley?
So by coaching staff, I agree. By coaching staff, yes, the Eagles are technically not a run first offense. But with people who understand football and understand how the team what they should be doing, they are a run first offense.
So the thing about them is that they probably do 60-40. And in the NFL, that's a run heavy offense. It is. Right. Because the Cowboys right now are running 80-20. 80% pass, 20% run. And really the main reason is like that is because they're so far behind, they got to throw. They can't even run no more.
Right.
He said, you're right. Yeah. So it's one of those things, man, where this is one of those teams, and I hate, and as much as it painstakens me to say it, this is one of those teams that's like the Saints, that's like Baltimore, right? This is one of those teams, or like Detroit, right? And Detroit is probably like the best comparison to Philly right now. And Jesus, that hurt to say. That made my stomach hurt. You have a team with capable running backs, but they also have dynamic wide receivers. And it's just going to be hard to stop, man. It's going to be hard to stop. And the Cowboys haven't done it. They haven't done it in a while. Thank you, Mike. I appreciate you too, man. Eagles have had a great team with the suspect coaching staff. Agreed.
I'm not crashed out over my coaching staff, so we're gonna keep that. We're gonna just keep going. I crashed out enough.
All right, Britt. How we gonna do this tomorrow after the game?
Oh Lord, depends. I swear, if the Eagles lose, you won't see me for about 8 weeks. You are not going to see me for 8. My whole work week is going to be Done.
Oh,
I
man.
know I'm not going to want to show up anywhere. You're not going to see me. So they better win. But
I have
yeah,
a feeling
after
you
the
probably
game.
gonna beat me in here tomorrow. I'm probably
Huh?
gonna be lagging my feet tomorrow. I say you probably gonna beat me in here tomorrow. I'm probably gonna be lagging my ass out tomorrow.
I will sing. If we win, I'm going to sing. So be mindful. So if y'all want to if y'all want to see me sing and embarrass the hell out of myself and
Uh,
irritate the hell out of Corey.
oh God.
So let's hope the Eagles win. And I will come on here and embarrass the hell out of myself and I will sing my Eagle song. I do not care because it's a Philly thing. This is what we do.
That's fair. All right, man. This was fun, Britt. I appreciate you, man. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. His name is
Go Birds. Go
See,
Birds.
balanced offense, run press offense. Detroit is a run press. You know what? Detroit definitely runs the ball, but the reason that they run the ball so much and so well is because Jared Goff is so good with play action. There's reasons that he's 15 of 15, going into the third quarter and shit. It's because you have to respect, man, they got a two-headed monster that's out of this world in the backfield. And that's why, that would be my vote for head coach next year for the Cowboys, Ben Johnson.
Ooh, that would be a nice one.
That would be my vote.
But I don't think he'll be successful under Jerry.
Nope.
He's sure would have too much control.
Gonna want to do his thing. He gonna want to design his offense the way he wants to design. He gonna design it with the players that he wants. And you know what I'm saying? And Jerry's not gonna. Jerry does interesting things. This is my last thing, and I'm gone. I promise. Jerry does interesting things when it's time for him to hire a coach. He hires the coordinators before he hires the coach.
That makes no sense to me.
That's what he does. He'll hire the offensive and the defensive coordinator first. And then the head coach comes in and he's like, can you deal with this?
And they have no choice. They want the job. They got to take it.
You want the job, you have no choice. That's why Mike McCarthy been out of football for 5 years. He's like, shit, I'll take it. Yeah. He said, sadly, he would not be successful under Jerry. He wouldn't. But if they do what I would like them to do and just get out the way, you know what I'm saying? And if you have a problem like you don't trust Will McClay, like I don't trust Will McClay being the general manager of this football team, that's cool. Make Will McClay the president of football operations and hire Troy Aikman as your general manager. Troy would have his team humming in a year. I promise you. But you know what I'm saying? It just is what it is, man.
It's just that I know we get ready to go, but I just sit back and think ever since Jerry kind of took over this team, and mainly with Jimmy Johnson, and they got 3 under Jimmy, right? I think it was 3.
Yeah.
How many more you could have had if Jerry just let up?
If he'd have stayed out the way, you would have had big name coaches coming in here after Jimmy. You see what I'm saying? Jimmy would have been here for probably 20 years. And you would have had another head coach coming here, and it probably would have been somebody Jimmy picked. Probably somebody from his little tree he picked come in and just pick up where you left off. We probably would have been the Patriots.
I guarantee you Jimmy would have won more.
Yeah. He'd have won at least 2 more.
Yeah. At least.
But you know what I'm saying? It is what it is. Yeah, they are. But they're not going to be able to do it, man. It's 34-20 right now, Britt, with 6:25 left in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Yeah, they ain't
Colorado better have won that game because they want to make a playoff spot. They needed to win. They got to win from here on out.
They got a big one next week too in Utah, but Utah with a 9th-year quarterback, he's hurt again, so I think they can beat Utah too. But anyway, Britt, tomorrow after the game, we'll do it.
All right, and I seen somebody you went right past it, but they said I want a song. I want to hear the song. So,
where is it? Oh, there it is, right there. I want the song.
I want the song. So it has been requested. Only thing. It's not that serious. They got to win tomorrow. They don't win, I'm not singing crap. I might not even show my face.
No way the Eagles losing tomorrow. Bet the house. All right, y'all, man. Make sure y'all join us tomorrow, man. It'll be fun. I promise you. Win or lose, we'll be here. Well, win or lose for me, I'll be here. Don't matter. I'm either going. I'm gonna be. I would be so excited tomorrow if they win, man. I don't even know if I contain myself on here. I'll be just running around here just laughing and giggling. But, we can make it happen. Randy Moss wanted to be drafted by the Cowboys. Yep, he sure was. Chose Greg Ellis instead of Randy Moss. And every time, he said ninth year senior. He is. Man, that dude been in college for so long. That shit is crazy. He married with kids. I can't even remember his name now, man. What is his name? The quarterback for Utah. Hold on, Cam Rising. Cam Rising been in Utah for 12 years. G, he been there for he married and got kids. That dude, he probably got a master's degree, probably working on his doctorate by now.
How old is he?
He got to be at least 26.
And he's still playing.
He got hurt again,
so his eligibility is still there.
Still good, so he could probably come back next year.
See, then the NCAA they gotta max that out. They can't keep doing this.
Man, appreciate it. Look forward to it too, man. Okay, tomorrow, right after the game, we'll be here. I got Brittany on here. This is Cowboy C3, man. Looking forward to tomorrow? Not really. All right, man. I'll see y'all tomorrow.
Go Birds.
Bye, y'all. Peace.